Hello. Welcome back to Life is a Vibe. I think this is episode 12, I want to say. So welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today on this lovely, cold, and icy Wednesday here in Austin, Texas. We are in a winter storm effect until tomorrow, and you don't got to tell a tourist twice to stay home. So we are cozied up. But I hope you are having a good week so far, wherever you are listening from. And in today's episode, we're going to continue the conversation of routines that I started 2 episodes back. And I wanted to do just, a quick and short episode of 5 things you can do to level up your routines this year. And so we'll get into that, but we'll go ahead and get started with a little vibe check, a little life update. So if you want to get comfortable wherever you are, if you can close your eyes, definitely do so. And let's just reset into the space, and we'll take 3 deep breaths together. So go ahead and take that first inhale in and exhale it back out. Second one in. And exhale it back out. Last one in. Hold it. Release in 3, 2, 1. Exhale it back out. Like I said, I'm doing pretty good. I hope you are doing good. I hope you're checking in with yourself. It's February, you guys. So if you wanted to do like a little end of month reflection, a little end of month check-in, it's always good to ask what went well, what didn't go well, what were some wins from the month, what am I letting go of from this month, and then, wrapping up with some gratitude. So just to kind of give a little bit about my January, it was a really good month. My focus for January was routine. Like I really wanted to focus on my routine. I really wanted to get set up for success this month. And I really felt like I did that. Like I got really solid with my routines, and I'm really, really proud of myself for that. And it was really with like my morning and nighttime routine and like some other routines. I still feel like I could use some more structure with my business routines and stuff, but that will always be a work in progress. And there's some things happening, this month and stuff that I think will help. But yeah, overall January was pretty good. I also felt like I was just like, I am no longer letting self-doubt get in my way. I'm no longer letting myself get in my way. So I experienced a little bit of that yesterday, like just a little bit of like, I was frustrated with myself, but it was all good problems to have. But like, I was just feeling so frustrated because I have a really open schedule right now, and I feel like I'm just not maximizing it. Like I'm not using it to my fullest potential. But I think that also comes with, one of the big things that came through this month is I am probably not going to be drinking a whole lot of caffeine anymore. I took a week off of it. Maddie Maple did a challenge inside of her community, her membership community, the Confidence Collective. And we had to give up something. And, I've been sober from alcohol for 7 months. So I was like, I don't know what else I could give up. And I was like, why don't we give up caffeine? So yesterday I was definitely feeling like down, I think, because of not having caffeine. Today I feel a little bit better, but I think that's something that I wasn't anticipating as a goal this year, and now it's kind of cultivating as that, but we're just leaning into it. And I want to believe that like I do have the energy and creativity and, the power to do what I need to get done, So yeah, I'm really looking forward to February. Just some like intentions I really have. I want to work on like business stuff, wealth stuff, and I think I coined, let me double check and see what I coined this month. Let me go back and look in my, where do I have it? I have it in a Notion. You guys, I have been loving Notion. Notion has been so good for just like planning out everything. Okay, yeah, monthly check-in. Oh, I put the theme for this month as growth. So that's what I coined my February. I really want to align on my business, make some moves, stay consistent with my routines. I really want to do more like cycle planning, which I'm starting to do in terms of like planning ahead and stuff, but I want to cycle sync my meals. I want to keep, the things that I did really well last month. I want to keep those things going. So yeah, that's what I'm really, really looking forward to, for the month of February. So I'm feeling pretty good. February is also a special month. Next week's episode is going to be, a birthday episode for Find Your Vibe. So I'm really just going to share, all the things when it comes to my business and stuff and what I've really learned. And I am really, really excited to share more about that and just kind of celebrate 2 years of having this business. So that's what's coming up. But yeah, if you want to let me know and share how you're doing, you can feel free to share this episode and tag me or DM me or hop into the Discord that we have, to connect and everything. But I hope you are doing well, and I hope you can take some time to reflect on your January and really just celebrate yourself. I feel like a common theme that I'm seeing with my clients, with myself, is like we are just not giving ourselves enough credit. We are doing so much day in and day out, and we are dealing with so much. And so I think it's really, really important to find ways to give yourself more credit. Whatever you need to do, whether you list out everything you did in a day or, and even in that, if you just rested that day, you did a lot that day. You took care of yourself. That is doing something. You know what I mean? So I really want to encourage you to take that time and then maybe plant some beautiful seeds for February. What do you really want to focus on? And you can look at like your big 2023 vision. What is really something you want to focus on for February? So that is a little life update. Let's go ahead and dive into today's episode. So today, what I really wanted to talk about is a continuation of, this conversation about the importance of habits and routines that we've been going on. That's also been in line with my group coaching program launch, Habits and Routines Accelerator. We begin next week, and I am so, so excited. We have 5 incredible, amazing women inside. And we're going to be going through Habits and Routines Accelerator, creating, some really soul enriching and nourishing routines for themselves. And so we begin next week, and that will be going through till April, I want to say. So if you are really interested, if you listen to this episode and you really want help, like just bringing some of the things to life and just bringing some more order and organization, and also like there is flexibility with habits and routines, and that's something I'm really going to be teaching inside. So if you really feel the call, listening through this episode, I'll leave the application link. We're in the home stretch of enrollment and everything. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me. On price point and everything, it's very affordable in comparison to like one-on-one coaching and stuff. I make it that way for group coaching, and it's great to be supported by women and everything. And so today's episode, we're going to talk about 5 things you could do to up-level your routines. And originally I had this, quoted as like 5 mistakes you're making with your routines. And something that I'm really shifting to with my marketing and my messaging is like moving away from shaming or guilting or like any of that, like we all make mistakes, you know what I mean? But I don't want to put this pressure of like, you're doing the wrong thing or you're making a mistake when you do this habit or rah, 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 rah. So what I really wanted to, emphasize in today's episode is like, here's how you can take, just what you're currently doing and up level it just a little bit, or do something different with your routines or your habits. If you're someone that's been doing it consistently, here's how you can change it. If you're someone that's starting from zero, here's some things to keep in mind. So I also posted on my YouTube channel this week, 5 routines to implement this year, or 5 impactful routines to start this year. So you can also use that video as some help and guidance. But when we are talking about, some ways to up level, the first thing I'm going to recommend is diversify. So diversify your routines. And what I really meant by that is to find different things to do in your routine. Try out different things. I think it's super important to diversify your routines And also not to give up when something doesn't work for you, to find something else. If you don't like meditation, do breath work. If you don't like journaling, I have friends that do voice memo podcast recordings with themselves to like get it out, right? If you don't like going to the gym, do a workout class or do yoga at home, Pilates at home. I want you to really diversify the routines that you're doing, because this can really help to, remove any stagnant energy. It can get you feeling unstuck. And it can just have you feeling excited about your routines again. So this is something that's really helpful, is to diversify your routines. And also not only like the things you're doing in your routines, but also like creating routines that align with where you're currently at in life. So, if you're going through a healing journey, your routine's going to be a little bit more robust and built out. But if you're someone that is just kind of maintenance, you're not really going through anything, that's kind of me, what does your routine look like for that? And if you are someone that is having a menstrual cycle, and you know the phases that you are going through, some people that are on the pill, you're not exactly having a full cycle, compared to women that are not on the pill. So that's something to know, right? But even if you're on the pill, you know when your period is coming and you can plan around that. But if you are someone that, is not on any birth control or anything, you're tracking your cycle, your routines are going to change up, right? When you're in your luteal phase, menstruation phase, like you might not do your full morning routine, but it's important to still do something, right? And when you are ovulating, you're going to have more creativity, more energy. So like, what would you do with your routines when you are coming from that place and you have that going on? So it's really important to take a look at those routines and figure out how can you, diversify them, make them more fun, make them more nourishing for you, and make them more supportive for you for whatever part in your month you're at or time you're at and wherever you're at in your own journey. The next one is going to be environment. So set your environment up for success with your routines. And, when you come into my apartment, you might see certain things set up a certain way. And it really is to make it easier for me to execute a habit, execute a routine. And it could be little things. Like, for example, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my planner is right here next to me. That way my planner is viewable, it's reachable, it's right here. Also to the left of my desk now, I have a walking pad, and I keep it here because then it's easy for me to move the walking pad back and forth because I'm visually seeing it. If I kept the walking pad, put away in a closet or something, like, then I'm more likely not going to do it. You go in my living room, you see my yoga mat out, my foam roller out, my meditation ball out. You go into my bedroom, my journal and my Kindle are right next to my bed. So you really want to set your environment up for success, and it's going to help cue your routines and your habits. So if some of you guys may have heard the habit loop, this is something that I teach inside Habits and Routines Accelerator. It's from the book Atomic Habits. Some people teach it as a 3-step process. Atomic Habits teaches it as a 4-step, and I agree with the 4-step process. So you have cue, craving, reward. No. You have cue, craving, response, reward. I was saying the 3 steps, which is cue, response, reward. But I prefer the cue, craving, response, reward. And the reason for that is because the craving step I think is super important. The cue is, you see something or your alarm goes off, you get a notification that cues you up to do the action. The craving, this is where that debating goes between, like, do I want to do it? Do I not want to do it? Right. And I think a lot of people leave that out and just do the cue, action, reward. And that's almost like robotic, like, all right, I'm going to do the thing now, but the craving is the determining factor between, are we going to do it or not? Like, when the alarm goes off, you have that thought, okay, do I want to keep sleeping? Do I want to hit snooze? And that is where you really need to go into, like, why are you doing this habit? Why are you doing this routine? So that is why I think that step is so, so important. And then you obviously have the response, which is like the action you take, then the reward, what you get from taking action. So your environment is really important to make sure that you have it set up to cue you up to take action, right? It makes it easier for you to take action and also to execute any routines, right? When we have our skincare laid out, like to do our skincare routine, it's important to have that maybe in order of the steps you go in, or to make it easy for you to do your skincare. So you really want to set your environment up for success. And, I just gave you a bunch of different examples. There's so many ways that you can think about it, If you want to floss more, keep your floss out. And so I know, for my aesthetic girlies that like to have everything tucked away and hidden in your cabinets, like that's great, but and it's cute, it looks good, but then you're not really setting yourself up for success with those habits and routines, and you might be creating more rigidness and resistance when you do that. The next kind of up level is more of like a mindset shift, right? And I talk a lot about this, that your routines and your habits is not just a to-do list. We're not just doing it for the sake of doing. We are doing these habits and routines as a way to create and to embody the person that we want to be. And I think this is really important to know the difference, right? Because when you're just doing something just for the sake of doing, that reward doesn't feel as great, and you don't really make progress, really, because you're just like kind of checking it off. Like you do get that little zing of dopamine, like, yeah, we checked it off, but like it's not really doing a whole lot. But when you realize that you are doing something for the sake of embodiment, and you are doing it because you know that when you do this action, like you are putting a vote towards who you want to be, and I've talked about this a lot, like each action that you take is just casting a vote. Who do I want to be tomorrow? Who do I want to be in 3 months? Who do I want to be in 4 years? Each habit and action and routine that you are doing is cultivating that future you. And it's so critical to know that. And I don't want to put this pressure on it. But when I think back to the time of my life of like, staying up late, scrolling on TikTok, and like, waking up, not really feeling that excited, right? All of that was really contributing to me not feeling excited to wake up, or not feeling passionate in my business, or things like that, right? And similarly, we see this when you take breaks from working out and you eat junk food or food delivery. And like, if that's your journey right now, it's totally okay, right? But just think about that. Like we sometimes sacrifice the future thinking just for our current pleasures. We sometimes sacrifice the future desires for our current pleasures, and it's not going to be like night and day for you to completely change, but it's really important to just notice, like, okay, do I want to go to bed early and start my day on the right foot, or do I want to scroll on TikTok and get sucked in there and then be cranky when I wake up and not get a workout in and not do my morning routine because I just have to log in for work, right? And it's all about just making those little shifts and realizing if I just, went to bed on time and I woke up feeling good, then I'm going to be able to show up at work the way I want to. And then that all ripples down and trickles down, because when you show up and you feel good, even if you're working for someone else, like that puts you in a state to make more money, right? It puts you in a state to get promoted, maybe, get a raise, because you're feeling good. So I think it's super important to just realize that, like, we're not just doing the habits and routines and the morning routines, the night routines, all these routines just because we see it on TikTok. Like, that girls are getting somewhere with that because they're really desiring to embody that girl or higher self or whatever. And with their routines, they are getting somewhere, Now, I don't agree with that girl kind of trend in the sense that I don't think everyone should do the exact same thing because we're all designed very differently, and what works for some person isn't going to work for another person. People's interests are different. So I don't necessarily agree with that we all need to look the same and be cookie cutter and like everyone's going to be a that girl. But I do get the idea of, they're waking up and showing up as that girl, and with each of their habits and routines, they're embodying that, So just remember, routines are not a to-do list. They're just a way for you to get to who you desire to be, and for you and for you to embody who that person is. Number 4, bring in some joy and bring in some fun to your routines. I'm going to shout out my girl, Jess Ardia, I'm pretty sure is how you pronounce it. She's the owner of Mariposa Creations, and she inspired this tip. And it's something I also do as well. But she was doing her skincare, and she had a really cute headband, and it was kind of like quirky and funny. I can't remember it. I think it might have been like a little alien kind of headband that was used for skincare, and it had like googly eyes. I don't know if that was her, but she mentioned it. She was like, you know, having this headband while I do my skincare like makes me want to do it. And I've also have another TikToker that I follow, Ken Urich. She also lives in Austin. And she has one of those like little alien things too of like doing skincare. And like for me, I'll do the routine when things are cute, things are fun, and it brings me joy. So figure out a way, right? My Kindle has a pink cover on it. My journal is pink. You know, I put the Vibey lighting on to do my routines. I put like essential oils when I really want to do something. When I want to do my walking pad, like I want to have good music on, or like I'm doing something, right? Like you have to bring some joy and some fun into it to just like spice it up, you know? So if you're someone that it feels really like you've been doing your routines, like you're really solid in them, but they kind of get mundane every now and then, how could you make it more fun? Like, how could you invest a little bit just to make that routine a little bit better and make it more fun for yourself? And so really think about that. And like, it could be as different as like you get a different coffee mug. Like it could be as little of a change like that as getting a different coffee mug and getting really excited to like have your coffee or have your tea or whatever, right? Same thing with like skincare. Like how could you make that really fun? Like when I'm doing my skincare now, I feel like very luxurious. Like I'm like my own little spa, right? And like I even want to get one of those like facial steamers. And like, yeah, I try to make it fun and be in my robe, have my like headband and stuff. So how can you make it joyous? How can you bring some joy into those habits and routines, and how can you make them fun? You know, something else that makes it fun is getting a buddy, right? Having an accountability partner can really help, especially if you're going to a workout. You know, with workout classes, I can go to them myself, but I went to yoga with my friend Lester. I went to spin with my friend Danita, and it's super fun to just have a friend to do it. So try and do that. And like if you want to go on a hot girl walk, you know, make it fun with like your cute outfits you're going to put on, or like what are you going to be listening to, or like I'm the type of person that like likes to walk to the beat of the song. So I try to do that. There's also like the treadmill girl strut. She's a content creator. I think her name's Hannah, but I have her playlist saved. That's like Dua Lipa. It's a Dua Lipa treadmill girl strut. And so you walk to the beat and you like increase the speed every song basically. So yeah, like you have to find new ways to make it fun, because otherwise it just feels like you're constantly like climbing and you're not really sure if like anything's really happening or like making progress. And so that's a little bit of like the romanticizing your life, right? Like romanticizing, you know, the skincare in the morning. And I have another friend, Maria. She's Expansive Experience and Chubby Wubby on Instagram. She did a post recently that was like, make love to your morning, right? Like make love to your morning, meaning like, you know, really don't wake up and feel like, oh, I have to do all these things. Like be like, oh, I get to do these things and I get to have this time to myself to really do, you know, what I want this morning, to like not only make love to my morning, but also to like my life and like myself before I have to go work for other people, you know? So I really loved that simple little switch, right? Instead of morning routine, make love to your morning routine, right? A little different. And then the final thing here is rewards. So rewards and investments. This is something that might not be available for everyone, right? But it's something that can be really helpful is rewarding yourself along the way. You know, when you work out consistently for the whole month, maybe you get yourself a new workout set. I rewarded myself and invested in myself by getting a walking pad because I have been on this fitness journey for so long, and I know I need to get more steps in. So I did invest in a walking pad, which, by the way, I love it. I'm doing a payment plan from Amazon. It's like $50 for 6 months, but you could even do like a smaller one where it's like, I think $20 for like 18 months or something like that. So rewarding and investing can be really helpful for when you want to like instill further action and taking action on your habits and routines. You know, I got a Lululemon mat when I wanted to go to yoga more. I got an Apple Watch when I wanted to like get my steps in and stuff. So a lot of them are like fitness, but even like, for example, if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, like I have new lighting, and getting new lighting has just allowed me to be like, okay, I want to create content more because now I have no excuses. Like I can't be like, oh, it's cloudy and icy outside. Like I can't create content today. Like, no, I can do it. I had other lighting, but I was finding a little bit of a challenge with like setup and stuff. So that was causing me some like rigidness in creating content. Also, I was dealing with construction and like all this stuff. So it's really, really helpful to create rewards for yourself so you have something to look forward to. I was doing this a lot in the Dry January challenge recently where I was telling the girls, like, how do you want to reward yourself after a week of like sticking to your commitment, right? So it just really helps to like reward yourself along the way, and it further then instills it, right? Because as I was talking about the habit loop, we have cue, we have craving, response, reward. And sometimes with that reward, it's going to be like an immediate thing. Like, oh, I feel good to start my day after doing my morning routine, or I feel good after that workout. But when we start to do that day in and day out, it's like, okay, what are we doing here? You know? So it kind of just helps to make sure that when you are in that craving phase, you think about that bigger reward at play here, right? When I do this, like I'm working towards X amount, I'm working towards that amount, right? I'm currently doing like an 8-week health and fitness challenge for myself before I go on a big vacation in March. And so I'm using that as like my reward, right? That's the big reward here. Like when I do all of this, like I'm going to feel so good. I'm going to feel like hot I'm already hot, but I'm going to feel even hotter in my bikinis and stuff. So it's really helpful to find ways to reward yourself. And then what are ways to invest further into it? Like invest further into like your health and your morning and your night when you've been doing things consistently, just to help reinforce the habits and routines that you're doing. And then I included a bonus one, which I think is another great way, is stacking. So habit stacking is basically like a routine, but I think it's really important to identify the best way to stack. And what I mean by this is like finding areas of opportunity when it comes to your habits and routines to like stack things in a way that gets more things done while you're doing one thing. So it's kind of like multitasking, but you're not like at your desk, right? So what I mean by this is like, for example, every morning I make breakfast and I have these frozen hash browns that I put into the air fryer. They take exactly 14 minutes and I flip them at 7 minutes. And so when I am doing that, right, I set it for the 14 minutes. I have 2 other things I make. I make sausage and I make eggs, which those don't need to be made until like 5 minutes when there's 5 minutes left. So I have a good chunk of time there where like 10 minutes, which is still a good chunk of time, where I can do other things. And this is where stacking can get really helpful. So, you know, if I had just done the dishes, like it's time to empty the dishwasher, I'm going to do that while that food is heating up. Or I'm going to, you know, I washed dishes last night, I'm going to put dishes away. Or if like I don't need to do any of that, then I'm going to meditate. Then I'm going to journal while I have that time. So you want to find ways to like maximize your time in that way, because I could just go sit on the couch and start watching TV, but I start to do things like that. You know, also my mom has always taught me, like when you're cooking in the kitchen, like clean as you go. That way it doesn't feel like a big cleanup at the end. You know, I try to do that. It's a little hard sometimes with like pots and pans, but like cutting boards, stuff like that. I try to clean that as I go. It's usually when I'm in the kitchen that I stack a lot of things, because it's really easy to do that. Like if something's already cooking, then I'm like wiping down stuff. I was doing a big cleanup weekend this past weekend for like end of January. So while I was cooking something and meal prepping something, I was cleaning the bathroom. I was cleaning other things. I didn't just go sit on the couch or open up TikTok and start watching TikTok, which is what I used to do. Like I would usually just be like, all right, I'm going to wait. I'm going to watch TV, or I'm going to do what? So you want to stack things in a way to just get things done more efficiently, right? And, I also walk on the treadmill, and then I'm doing like work or whatever. Even when you're on the treadmill, if you're in social media like me, I'm writing captions, I'm posting stuff, I'm editing stuff. It's really helpful to stack things. That way you save some more time and you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. And it's easier to do this with things that you're already doing, right? And so that's just like a really good example. And I forgot to mention this with the rewards too, but you can also leverage the rewards with this, right? When I'm in the kitchen doing all of these things, I'm thinking about the reward of like, okay, then I get to eat a yummy breakfast while watching YouTube. I'm putting off the reward of watching YouTube for after I've done whatever needs to get done in the kitchen, and same thing. I've done this before with like putting laundry away. I can't watch YouTube until I put the laundry away, or I watch YouTube while I put the laundry away. So you want to create like a little bit of resistance there. That way you're more likely to do it, because you're like, oh, I can't do this until this gets done. So that's a good way to also incorporate some of the stacking and rewards there too. So I hope that made sense. If you have any questions from that, definitely let me know or pop into the Discord. But that is really it for today's episode. So just to go over, the 5 tips and the bonus tip I went over: diversify, find a way to diversify your routines, find a way to set up your environments for success with your routines. Know that your routines are not a to-do list. It's a way for you a to-be list, honestly. It's a way for you to get to who you want to be. Find ways to incorporate joy and fun into your routines, create rewards and investments with your routines to reinforce the habits and routines. And finally, find ways to stack for optimization, efficiency, and success. So that is it for today's episode. Let's pull some cards for the week. I'm thinking the Super Attractor deck is calling out to me. Actually, we're halfway through the week, so let's actually pull this for February. I'm feeling that call to me, so let's pull some affirmations for February and note for your higher self for February. So what is the vibe, the energy for February for the Vibey family? Ooh, so for this month, it says, my greatest spiritual shifts don't come through force, they come through freedom. My greatest spiritual shifts don't come through force, they come through freedom. Ooh, don't force things this month. Feel your freedom, fuel your freedom, and give yourself freedom. Honestly, give yourself freedom to just like be and not force things this month is what that signifies to me. A note from your higher self. Well, as all the cards fall. Note from your higher self. Inhale, exhale. When all else fails, return to your breath. The quality of your breath determines the quality of your life. Gift yourself a delicious breath. Don't force things and remind yourself to breathe this month. Beautiful, beautiful. And let's talk about how I want to fill up my cup this month, and you can hopefully reflect on yours just to end this episode. So how I am planning to fill my cup this month. More time for rest. No working on the weekends, I hope. I hope. I'm going to try my best to not work at least on Sundays. More time for fun, more time for play. February is a little hard because of the weather, but I'm hoping to make plans with friends, make plans with Chase, and just spend time with my loved ones and not work as much. So that's how I'm planning to fill my cup up this month. So if you want to reflect on yours, definitely do your January reflection, your February intentions. I think it's so important just to kind of reset for the month and give yourself like a roadmap for the month. But I'm sending you all my love. I hope you have an amazing February. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending your time with me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. And do not forget that life is a vibe. Bye.